Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. If you like what we do and want to tip us, now you can do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as always, you can subscribe to our Patreon, where we share stories of life in Ukraine in times of war. Our latest episode is the story of a local resident who survived 34 days of Russian occupation in the Kyiv region. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 249 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry claims that the unmanned surface vessels that attacked the ships of the Black Sea Fleet on October 29th were launched from aboard of a civilian vessel near Odessa, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Russian experts raised the wreckage of the sea drones to the surface and examined the Canadian-made navigation modules. The officials say that unmanned surface vessels moved through the grain corridor safety zone before changing their route in the direction of the Russian port of Sevastopol. According to Russia, it may indicate that the devices were launched from aboard of one of civilian ships chartered to export agricultural products from Ukraine. In his evening video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky dismissed Russian accusations. He said that at first Russia spread rumors about some war birds used by Ukraine, then war insects, now war grain? Quote, a killer wheat which drowns Russian admirals? Well, what can you say? They are really sick people. But these sick people are once again putting the world on the brink of a severe food crisis, unquote. Zelensky informed that due to Russian actions, another vessel chartered by the UN Food Program is stuck in the port. It is carrying 40,000 tons of wheat for Ethiopia, a country on the brink of famine. The president stressed that Russia is the only one to blame for the fact that food will now become more expensive for people across a vast expanse from West Africa to East Asia. He informed that 218 vessels are waiting for the opportunity to carry food under export contracts or enter Ukrainian ports. Zelensky reminded that week after week Russia has been slowing down the grain corridor despite its own promises to partners and has now blocked it completely. The president promised that Ukraine, for its part, will do everything to ensure that the grain initiative continues to work. Earlier, Secretary of the National Security Council of Ukraine, Alexei Danilov, dismissed as delusional Russia's claims that any attack was launched from a civilian ship of the Grain Initiative, reports TSN-UA. Danilov said that Russia is using the suspension of its participation in the Black Sea Grain Initiative as blackmail ahead of the G20 meeting. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko said that Moscow could return to implementing the Grain Initiative agreement but would consider the issue only after an investigation into the strikes on the Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol, reports Interfax Ukraine. Rudenko said that all the conditions that were agreed earlier as part of the grain export agreement are violated. At the same time, Turkey informed that its representatives are in negotiations with the Russian side, reports Hromadske. According to the Turkish Defense Ministry, at these meetings the sides are being reminded about the importance of extending the initiative for the good of the entire humanity and told that crisis can be solved through goodwill and dialogue. Meanwhile, Poland stated that it, together with its EU partners, stands ready to work further to help Ukraine and those in need to transport essential goods, reports European Pravda. The UN, Turkey and Ukraine agreed a movement plan for 14 ships in Turkish waters as part of the grain deal, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The Joint Coordination Center of the Grain Initiative in Istanbul informed the Russian delegation about these plans. Russian state media RIA Novosti informed based on the sources among the officials that the decision on the movement of ships adopted by Kyiv, Ankara and the UN within the framework of the grain agreement do not bind Moscow to anything, as it has suspended its participation in the initiative. President Volodymyr Zelensky informed that there were no emergency blackouts throughout the country yesterday. Ukrainian specialists managed to restore the technical possibility of energy supply after the Russian strikes that took place during the week. At the same time, Zelensky stressed that power generation deficits still persist and it is extremely important to lower electricity consumption. He reminded Ukrainians about the need to be especially careful on the roads at night, as the vast majority of them are not lit. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.